perform on that with the Elder Gods.
Yeah.
Of course, it's still great healing. It just doesn't have as much of that like accompaniment. It's not as pocket as it could be as the Comfy is.
Yeah, and the Zorak's going to be hunting for some KOs that are going to be rather difficult to find. I mean, we got a pretty tanky composition the other direction. Oh, yeah, diving into a Suicune sounds, well, frankly, terrible. So,
Terrifying.
Yeah, I think Zorak's going to have a tough time there, but you do have things like Mewtwo Y to make sure that the enemy targets are at least softened up before you're going in for the KO. A lot of great range poke damage coming from that Pokemon. Maybe the best in the game. I know you and I had the chance to talk about what Pokemon we thought were going to be threats going into this tournament. We were talking a little bit with a few of our co-casters about maybe where do ADCs land in this? Where do the auto attackers kind of end up? And Mewtwo Y feels to be like the one Pokemon that is kind of beating the allegations that auto attackers can't do any damage. And Mewtwo Y, the one Pokemon that's kind of emerged in that role as still being a very relevant meta threat.
It really is, and of course you have the extra threat when it Mega Evolves, so you have the extra power damage there with the damage per second and just how many auto attacks it can ditch. That's why I mentioned, I think it was to Chef, I miss seeing Alcremie so far in Worlds because I love Decorate as a kind of like similar to Helping Hand in a certain way, where you're boosting the auto attacks, and it would be really fun, especially because we've seen quite a lot of that Mewtwo Y coming from the Apex squad. So it's something that would make sense, but so far, not seen on the table. I think people are not that hungry for cake.
Right. Yeah, I think only a couple of Alcremie games so far this tournament, I believe, and I think they've both been recover. I don't know if we've seen any Dazzling Gleam in this setup, so just a whole lot of heals throughout for that Pokemon when we have seen it. But it's been a pretty open meta. We've talked about it, how that's what we expected going into this tournament. It always kind of ends up being that for the World Championships, right? There's so many different regional metas, and when we get the chance to clash, obviously there's going to be a lot of variety. That does start to change sometimes when we move into day 2. We kind of discover a tournament metagame along the way. And I think so far from what we've seen is Ho-Oh's got to be banned, and Suicune is global. I think a big talking point we had going into this tournament was like, hey, Japan and a few other regions from Asia are not playing this Pokemon. What's going on? Well, that's changed. Heading into this tournament, Suicune is showing up on Japan squads, on APAC squads. It has been a incredible Pokemon in this tournament to, well, the surprise of no one. Certainly Spraggles. I think every time I'm like, hey, Spraggles, what's up? What's going on with, like, I'll be like, are you playing Pokemon Unite? He's like, yeah, Suicune's crazy. Like, he'll bring it up anywhere.
Yeah, it's just because it's a powerhouse. It's just so good. And I actually have something very special for us. We're going to go to the B-Stream stage and actually watch Aegis Flames and Onic rise.
All right, everybody, make no mistake. Soph came on the microphone and they're like, put Brazil on the broadcast.
Brazil mentioned, bring them in. And we're at the start of the game. From the top, Aegis Flames on the orange side, Onic rise on the purple.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody, we're most likely going to be watching as much of this as we possibly can. If our main stage does start happening, we don't want to hold up the schedule or anything like that. Reminder, we do have multiple streams going on. But one notable point that we can already see, Aegis Flames are up 1-0 in this series, meaning with a 2-0 win over Zeta Division and at least a 1-game win against Onic Rise, Aegis Flames is essentially securing their way into day 2.
Yeah, this feels absolutely incredible. And being 1-0 up, like you said, Zoinks, it's just amazing. But Onic Rise with a solid start here in the early game, getting a few KOs, although there is a good presence on the top side with the Buzzwole. Ooh, coming in here with the Leafeon. We see them just going dive deep, because that's what Leafeon does, and Onic Rise comes out on top.
Okay, and Onic Rise getting the Latios, a Pokemon that has been extremely feast or famine, to say the least, in this tournament. And AXQ getting a few stacks in, so very likely playing both that Drive Lens and the special attack specs to make sure their damage is at maximum power. They're going to be at level 5 already, so getting started on those passive stacks from their ability as well. Latios going to be looking very, very strong.
Yes, it will. The scaling on this Pokemon is absolutely amazing.
To the moon!
To the moon and back, yes. I mean, they do fly pretty high, so I guess that does make sense.
I bet they can fly to the moon.
I mean, I bet. They could go really fast.
True.
They get a KO here. Now Antares is still trying to get that 5-point pin. Trying to stack that AR's cookie or whatever they have going on. And, of course, on the other side, we actually see Onic Rise going for that deep invade with that Galarian Rapidash. Now coming to confront and stop that push from the Cerulege that we, at least on the games I've been in, I haven't seen that much Cerulege. How about you?
Yeah, no, very rarely. I think Brazil definitely one of the only regions that still brings that Pokemon. Those Ghost Fire types, Brazil tends to kind of champion. Chandelure and Cerulege are both kind of staples of the Brazil region that we don't see almost anywhere else. It's kind of fun when we get a typing flavor from this team, but I think if we're going to pick out any Pokemon that's going to stand up from Aegis Flames, it's that Buzzwole. I mean, what a play. Felt like multiple moments, especially in that Game 3 against Zeta Division. Felt like one of the biggest. Buzzwole going to be trying to push back. As long as they stick next to that Eldegoss, they will be getting those heals. And now Aegis Slash is going to be dumping in 30 more points. Trevenant trying to do a little bit of damage and push off this opposing squad. A great defensive defender, if you will. But Aegis Slash cares not. Great execute.
Yeah, pushing out there on the top side. Aegis Flames will take another casualty there. Or are they? Luna is just standing that ground. We remember once upon a time when Trevenant was just like absolutely unbeatable. It would have so much of that healing and lifesteal. Now on the side of Aegis Flames continuing on that top path with just actually the just the Aegis Slash on that Regieleki. So a trade of objectives with no contention.
It's funny enough you bring up the Trevenant being the powerhouse. I think back in the day, Aegis Slash was actually one of the very few Pokemon that was kind of picked as a niche counter to how strong Trevenant was. So a lot of looks back here for our 4th World Championship of Pokemon Unite. Aegis Flames getting in a few more small scores. I mean, this rapid scoring attempt is at least keeping this game even. But they are, of course, the ones in the driver's seat with a 1-0 series lead. Eeyore striking back, going the Leafeon.
Okay, pushing here, that's a mystical Mirage. At this point, just play defensively. Wow, ooh, the coup de grace was unfortunately there just to whiff, out of style, just to look pretty cool. Now going out for... There's that look at the Galarian Rapidashing Mats is going to go down themselves. Blue Games has to be aware of just the power. Well, never mind. The superpower comes from them. That's a Super Soul Slam, and it feels pretty good for Aegis Flames.
Great intuition from Blue Games. You get that first KO, you activate Buzzwole's passive of that Beast Boost, and immediately triggers that Unite move. They know they'll be able to find that knockout right after, even if the actual Unite move throwdown doesn't get the KO. Speed boost, attack boost, everything working for this Ultra Beast. Just really good play calling. You don't get 3 knockouts, but you'll still take 2.
Yeah, yes, you will. We got a around 40 score lead here for the side of Aegis Flames. They're trying to push for the enemy jungle, but there's nothing really to invade at this point, and maybe they overreacted there. Oh, the dart! Nice! Good block there by the Eldegoss.
Yeah, not to mention, well, the Eldegoss does have the Pollen Puff, gets a little bit of healing recovery immediately after, but you love to see supports backing up their squads. You know, whether you're accepting Mew boosted autos or Glaceon, Icicle Spears, whatever it takes, you got a body block. Good stuff so far. Interesting to see, this Aegis Slash is on Sacred Sword. I think last time we saw them playing this Pokemon, they were on the Shadow Claw build, which is kind of interesting, but it will be Aegis Flames picking up the Regirock. Onic Rise still kind of looking for an answer. They do got Eeyore in flanking position, going for the 40-point back cap.
Ooh, okay, maybe that Unite move was actually not very well timed by the Umbreon because it didn't really take any of the shields. And at this point, they can actually fight back on Onic Rise by following, considering the amount of range they have with the Mew. Now, Aegis Flames has to go on a retreat. Well, you're not waiting for that to happen, are you? Onic Rise throws in even the Galarian Rapidash and the Unite move, and they're gonna continue pushing. For now, they will stop, and just the enemy central will suffice. Or will they, though? Mats is contesting, continuing this here, but they're very low in HP. There's the Cottoncut Crash. Ooh, saving them pretty well. Still pushing on that Trevenant, and it's coming back, and he just lashes on top. He just flames.
Yeah, a couple of swords working in tandem. I guess 3 if we count both of Cerelege's arms, but all of them working quite well. Matt's starting off that team fight with a great Sacred Sword, disrupting that, lowering their defense, so the Aegis Slash can do some extra damage, and then Cerelege kind of finishing things off with the Unite move. So a great counter punch from Aegis Flames. They don't really get a lot of KOs in the return, 1 or 2 maybe, but biggest thing is it gives them so much space. They just came off the back of a team fight win to give them a basement Regi, and now they're adding that Attic Regieleki to the mix.
Oh, it feels so good because at that point, it was a good push that they started on the bot side because they had just gotten Reggie Rock. Although Onic Rise was good on the defense turned into an attack that lasted too long, Rizoinks. So when Aegis Flames came back, it was just enough time to respawn, take the fight, and even get the top Reggie.
Right, like Onic Rise, they're making these risky plays because they need to stack this Latios. Like right now, they've had a really tough time being behind, at least in levels. Points-wise, they're still doing all right, thanks to that Galarian Rapidash and Leafeon constantly being on the flank. But if they want to get some more EXP, they really are going to have to hunt it down. Trevenant in position, Aluna looking to see some disruption. Won't be there in time, though, as Aegislash, one of the best secure Pokemon in the game, with, of course, that missing HP percentage damage. Doing a great job securing that basement Reggie.
And there was a threat coming from the Mew, but it didn't quite connect. Now going for plenty of Unite moves already. Oh, nice dodge there, but Duke is in between a rock and a hard place. That doesn't feel pretty good for the bug. And pushing Aegis Flames has the Mystical Mirage to help out as well. Still trying to get something more, chasing them down, but the Latios will escape in that conjunction. But now, we have Rayquaza on the board.
I mean, Aegis Flames making it out of that team fight, I think, breathing a whole lot faster. That was scary. You lose Buzzwole that late, it gets dangerous. However, they were able to take out Eeyore's Leafeon very, very early in that fight. A lot of Unite moves missing for this next one. Emerald two-step up for Onic Rise, and only the Super Swole Slam and the coup de grace for Aegis Flames. Those are both great secure options, but starting team fights with the Buzzwole Unite could be an option for this Brazil team.
Maybe it will be. So you have a Revenant brand that, well, it's not available like you said, but maybe it could be spawning just in a little bit. Illuna is in the mix. Could be in a bad position though, but they're still getting some damage there with the Wood Hammer. Still tanking quite a bit, but it feels like Onic Rise just completely left the tree alone.
Well, they're trying to play patient. They have the score lead. They're trying to buy some time. You're in the flank position, and they will take out that Eldegoss. No Unite move to bail them out this time, and that Leafeon will strike both supports out as Umbreon's gone, but what a return from Tasteborn. Amazing Sarah Ledge play.
And do games as well, and with that Super Swole Slam, the Rayquaza is just on a little HP. They don't have enough to go in. Aegis Flames will take the Rayquaza. What is this? 181 to 202, and it doesn't feel like there's anybody really to defend. There isn't. They're still returning. They're still respawning. This is Aegis Flames on a 2-0.
They're going to have a gigantic lead. Onic Rise with only about 30 seconds to turn this around with Umbreon and Eldegoss spawn back in, including that Aegislash as well, and a full shield from the Ceruledge. This is going to be Aegis Flames from Brazil. I don't know if anyone was predicting them to come out of the group, much less on top of it. We talked so much about how Brazil had likely the hardest group draw of any region in this tournament, and they are going to be walking away with an amazing 2-0 win over Onic Rise and a 2-0 match record in the group.
Look at that, and Aegis Flames feeling so confident, and it was really close. Just another game that we saw Aegis Flames against APAC feeling like, okay, we're like 20 points ahead, 20 points behind. It's like, this is a close battle, is what they keep getting.